Welcome to SoulGood Talkin. Yes, sir. So I'm glad to have you all as a guest, and I'm gonna let you all introduce yourselves. Definitely, Miss Pam. We're gonna let ladies start first,
Okay.
and then we'll go from there.
I am Pamela Coley. I am a resident of Dublin, Georgia. However, I have strong ties here in Macon, Georgia. I work for the Division of Child Support Services. I'm glad to be here today to share as much information as I can.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Mr.
Well,
Pitts.
I'm Carlton Pitts. I'm a Macon, a local business owner. Got several businesses and several aspirations for other ventures here in Macon. So certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk with you guys and hopefully share some information with your listening audience.
Thank you, Mr. Pitts.
So we're gonna talk about fatherhood and child support, and I think this is a topic that just needs to be talked about. Because a lot of guys, young guys that I run into, think they know about child support and they think they understand what fatherhood is, but I don't think they do. From hearing them talk, I bought my baby some Jordans, and he should be straight. I got him a whole Jordan outfit, and I'm like, that's not fatherhood. That's a small part. Doing something they like or want, giving something they want, but that's not fatherhood. So, Mr. Carlton, I'm gonna start with you. Some wisdom. What is fatherhood to you?
Well, what I believe it to be, now my life has been, unfortunately, even though my father was in the household, there was an absence of fatherhood. So I'm going to speak more on the like thereof than I'm going to be speaking about what I believe is required to be a great father or a good father. Those things I believe is having quality time that you spend with the child. Not so much time you spend disciplining the child, but listening to the child and developing the child. I like to think about this story that I heard from Coach Aaron McKee. Y'all heard that one? Well, Coach Aaron McKee gave a talk at Temple University, and he said that he was most impressed with the fact that his father drove 10 miles. No, I'm sorry. His father walked 10 miles every day to work.
Mm-hmm.
That was his grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
His father walked 5 miles every day to work. But he drives a Cadillac to work. His son drives a Mercedes. And his grandson drives a Maserati. But his son would be walking. And he said, well, why is that? Why is that? So he said, well, it takes a strong man to go through tough times. It takes a good man to go through difficult times. But a weak man will create tough times. So he said, in all that you do, raise warriors. So it's about what you've taught. It's about what you teach. There was a time when there was a lot of community teaching. That community teaching is absent now. I think that the older generation might ought to take the opportunity for getting back to some community teaching, like the conversation you had with some of the young guys. One of the first things that I try to make sure that I have a conversation about is, first of all, what it is to be a man. Mm-hmm. You need to be a man. Then you can understand what it is to be a father. But you can't be a father, a good father, or anything, not even a good citizen, if you're not a good man.
I agree with that.
So you got to get to those principles that develop manhood, that warrior state, that the fact that you're going to be providing for somebody, that this life is no longer yours. It ain't just about you no more. It's about some other people. It's about those children, that kid. So when you make it about something more than just you, then you'll see a bigger picture. And the bigger the picture, the more inclusive other people are.
Okay. So do you believe that a woman can raise a good man?
I think that a woman can raise a good male.
What's the difference?
A man is responsible, independent, understands masculinity, not just femininity, but masculinity. So in raising a good male, I think that male has an opportunity to develop into a good man, which is the next step. But to do that alone, by herself, I don't think that the construct of society, I don't think that the construct of creation was set that way.
Okay. So, and I know you have been a single mother for a long time, and I know your son to be all of that what he was just describing. So, what do you feel about that?
I think that most women don't set out to raise their sons to be men. I think they do it because they have to. Just from my personal experience, before I got married, I was a single parent for a long time. And I wasn't the type of female who would have different men with my children. I'm very protective of them. If it's outside of my family and my church, and even some then, you know, I monitor that. But I didn't set out. My goal, I thought that it was going to evolve into a full household.
Okay.
Me, dad, and the child in the household. And that's not how it turned out. So I think that there's certain things about being a man I'll never be able to teach my son.
Okay.
So I think as women that we should seek positive influences for our sons.
Okay.
And don't take over the male role.
Okay.
Because a lot of our men aren't men because women don't let them be men.
Ooh.
Come on now, you want to tell something about
Yeah, true.
I think, the feminist movement was all well and good, but I think it hurt more than it helped to a certain degree.
Right. Wow. Okay. I could certainly say myself, growing up, single parent household, my dad was around. He was still in the area and things of that nature, but a lot of my upbringing and everything came from my mother. Like I tell everybody, it was my mother who, and my little mantra, my mother taught me how to change a tire and tie a tie. She was instilling the things in me that she felt that a good man should be able to do. For the longest, she didn't even let me wash dishes because coming up from the era when she was raised in the 40s, the man didn't wash dishes. He worked. Those are the things that he did. It was just certain things because she wanted to make sure that I stayed, for lack of a better term, a male, and I respected that. And she did everything she could. She got me in different sports, youth group at church. She did everything she could to put me around other boys because, again, her not being a male, she needed to expose me to certain things because my father was in the household. So I wasn't, I didn't know for the longest. And it is what it is, but I grew up in a household with my mother and my sisters. Up until the age of 7, I thought I was supposed to put my towel up this high.
Right.
That's what I saw.
Right.
And then mom, she told me, because again, her father wasn't in the house. So I didn't know, my dad never said, or whatever the case may be. But then she told me, no, son, you're a man. You put it around here. And she started saying, different things when she started noticing certain things. But outside of that, that was pretty much it. But at the same thing, I looked up to my mother and things of that nature. And I was longing for that male figure. So I knew my dad. I had other father figures throughout the family. So your uncles and things of that nature. So I started adopting qualities from different men that I saw around. So going back to what you were saying, even if you're not with a significant other, then you probably expose your kid to family members that have certain qualities, not necessarily the drunk uncle or whatever the case may be, the womanizer or whatever, but, you know, trying to protect your child, put them around those positive influences. Right. So that was a really good thing, raising a male. And, you know, you acknowledging that you can't. Yeah, you just saying you can't. Yeah, you do only so much. That's right. And expose them. So, wow.
Do you all think that a woman raising a male makes him more feminine than masculine?
I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that her attempt too often is to raise a male, the type man that she wants, or the type male that she wants. Mm-hmm. And that ain't, you know, unless she, you know, got these strange ideas going through her head. She wants a man, what she perceives a man to be, and the quality that she perceives a man to have. Mm-hmm. She just don't have it to emulate it for him to copy. Mm-hmm. While at the same time, I think at an early stage, he noticed that his body is different. What could happen, and it often happens sometimes, he started to want to be more like his mom because there's no dad to want to be like.
Right.
So he gets confused with what his body parts are telling him, and, you know, what is different between pleasure and gratification and joy and happiness. All those terms get confused in his mind, and society will then interpretate for you what they mean and make you think they mean this, that, and they don't really mean
That's
that.
a good point. Mm-hmm.
So having that in understanding, as you state, to understand that you ain't the male. And I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't do this around my child, I don't do that. That's great, because not only you ought not, in my estimation, be doing that around your child, then you ought not to be committed to anything less than a man anyway. Mm. You know, if you go on dating boys, you ain't got no hope of ever raising a male, because you dating a boy. That ain't no man, because what you're doing ain't. Anyway, so I think that exposure, a person that's genuinely interested in that family, that relationship, that person, will take that role, whether or not he takes that role for his own gratification purposes or for the fact that he sees a male, a member of society. Because one of the things that I have an appreciation for, King said this in one of his speech. He was talking about being awakened, and that now, because of civil rights, we're awakened. Don't go back to sleep. One of the things that happened to us as a society, each time we lose a member of society, if you truly believe that one man and one woman is the beginning of creation, that everything was created from that one, that Adam was created first, and from Adam became all men. If you truly believe that, then you, somewhere in your mind, you got to believe that we're all interconnected in some way or another. Mm-hmm. So every time one passes or dies, King said that he heard the bells tolling. He felt a part of him as being lost. That whatever deep part, whatever energy level, whatever it was that connected him to all creation, he felt a loss in it. So to some extent, I think that when we see wayward and lost young men, as well as young women, I tried with young girl, but I ain't no girl, so I can't teach you how that be, but I can direct you to one. Mm-hmm. A woman who is a woman, who will teach you how to be a woman. And I think that sometimes we miss the teaching and we start trying to teach the male. But teach that girl how to be a woman, and she won't take nothing less than a man. Mm. She will stop accepting less. And so it goes, to me, in my estimation, it goes both ways. Utilize the strength and the weaknesses to develop the person in a way we possibly can.
But he said, like you said, when you was watching your mom, you put the towel up here.
Right.
And if she didn't tell you no better, you'd have kept putting the towel up
to the day.
And you'd have kept doing some feminine things.
Possibly,
Do you think that leads to a lot of our men going over to try to be women in their later lives?
I definitely wouldn't think it didn't play a part in it, you know, because I see a lot of young ladies coming from the era that I grew up in with an older parent or whatever, one of the things I see a lot of times now is like a lot of females who have male kids or whatever, she'll coddle the child so much and keep him right there. The little child, he's into all the conversations and all that stuff. And then sometimes I've had conversation with him, and like the kid, he'll gossip just as much as the mom because he's seen the things that the mom has done. So now you grow up with this. You see the fingernail polish and things of that nature, and I've seen it. So I'm not talking about anybody in specific, but I'm just saying, I don't see, if they don't have those healthy male figures to be around, emulate, and things of that nature, you may want to grow up and be like mom or whatever. Now I am not gonna lie, I want my mom's strength. She was super strong, but other than that, the way she dressed, things of that nature, it wasn't me.
It never hit you.
Nah, not to even.
So I definitely want to hear your perspective on that one.
One of my greatest fears as a female raising a male child was that he would take and emulate those things that I do. And take on, that persona. So that was like one of my greatest fears. So when I would see things, because he used to do that, towel.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had to tell him.
Right.
Or when he would go use the restroom, sit down,
Mm-hmm.
or drop pants all the way down to his ankles.
Okay.
And it took me knowing some stronger gentlemen who I trusted.
Right.
And I had to trust them.
Right.
True.
I really had to trust them to get involved in his life, to show him the things that I could not.
Okay.
His father is not around all the time.
Okay.
He's in and out.
Okay.
It's not consistent.
Right.
So that was one thing that bothered me, that I worried about.
Right.
I also worried about, because females, we're emotional creatures.
Right.
So I always worried about him being too emotional.
Right around. Yeah.
Especially when he got to school
right.
different places like that. So
Social
that
settings.
always bothered me. But like I said, I had to get some people that I trusted. And then it helped once I got married. Stepfathers are excellent. True stepfathers, I applaud them all, because he did step in and start, and I had to do one of the hardest things that a woman has to do.
Take your hands off.
Be quiet.
For your baby.
I had to be quiet, because when they have those hard conversations, I just want to jump in. That's why are you talking to him like that?
That's my baby.
Right.
Right.
But I have to be quiet.
Right.
Go in the room.
Right.
Cry in the pillow.
Right.
And let it be.
Right.
Yeah.
And we might fuss when he come in the room. Why you had to talk to him like that?
Right.
And then he'll say that's what's neat. That's what was needed.
Right.
And so I had to trust him enough to know that that's what my son needs.
That's it. Okay. Now, let's flip it for a second. I'm like the flipper of the group when we have this conversation. So I'm gonna turn it to you. Okay. Being the father of girls.
I have a son too.
Yeah, no. I'm coming off the sons. Let's give it to the girls now.
Okay.
What the girls need in a father,
Right.
and being a father in the household, an engaged father in the household. What was let's take it all the way back. Fatherhood. When you find out you're going to have a daughter, what's racing through your head? What are the duties that you feel like you got to do? Talk me through it, because I got boys, so I don't know.
Well, I felt like I had to protect her. I had to teach her about guys when she got of age, and I had to provide for her.
Okay.
Those are the immediate things that came to my mind.
Okay.
Honestly, I didn't want her to want for anything.
Okay.
Spoil, whatever you would say. But I also wanted to teach her life lessons. I wanted her to be able to hold her own.
Okay.
And that's just, that's my biggest thing. I want to see her grow up and hold her own and be able to take care of herself.
Okay.
And that's both of them. And right now they are doing that. Not taking care of themselves, but I can see it.
Okay. Right.
But that was the biggest thing, is me being their father, is protecting them over everything.
Boy.
Even protecting them from their mom. because their mom will get on them because they're girls.
Okay.
I know you need to be doing this. You need
Right.
to be doing those. I'm like you now.
Watch out. Watch
Why
out.
you talking? Hey, why you talking to her like that?
Right.
You know, and that's where I am. Hey, I'm a hook. You know,
Okay.
don't do that.
Right.
you know.
Right.
But I know some of the stuff she's saying is good for her
Right.
because she's raising women.
Right.
You know, and it is some stuff that I can't
Right.
teach them.
Exactly.
You know, so but it's just that dad in me that like, hey, don't do that.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's me, you know, protecting them, cuddling them, making sure they don't want for anything.
Okay.
You know, trying to do that all the time.
Right.
But and it is difficult for me sometimes to look at mom and see, okay, no. But I am humble enough and enough to be there. Okay, let me see how this goes. How it goes.
Okay. Now, Mr. C, I don't know what do you
Yeah,
have
we
a daughter?
raised 2 girls,
Two girls. Okay.
2 twins.
Okay.
Never been employed in their lives. They've been self-employed. They're now about 51 years old.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
They never had a job with anybody other than for themselves.
Okay.
I got a granddaughter now that I'm dealing with.
Okay.
Me and her got a perfect relationship. She works for me up at the store.
Okay.
My thing to her is this: let your hair down. Let it down. But I will never see you with your head down. I don't care, you know, we got certain hours you got to be in. I don't care how you done partied and had a good time, but if that head drop, we got a problem.
Okay.
Let us not have a problem.
Okay.
So I want you to come back in just like you went out. That pride that you had, that assurance that you had, that integrity that you had, everything that you took out that door, bring it back in that door. And what I've always tried to do with her, I said, well, like, I'm going to always keep a certain amount of money in this bank for you. And what you have to do is use it for educational purposes.
Okay.
You can't use it for goodies and snacks and all that. And I put it back so it'll never go below a certain level, as long as you're using it for that purpose. And if you use it for any other purpose, you put it back. And so I loved it, you know, how that turned out, because she would get creative. She would buy some junk and explain the educational aspect of the junk.
Smart.
So I said, that's pretty sharp. Yeah. Okay, right.
Yeah.
We'll go for that.
Yeah.
So I always try to use, you know, techniques and different things and raising them and establishing them. You know, now the boys are a whole nother thing. That's a monster with 7 heads. But the girls was just completely different. All you had to do was, and one of the things that I've always shown them, and I show, you know, in it, you know, their mother, is strength. You're never gonna get weakness from them. You're never gonna get weakness from me. I don't, you know, I'm not. You're not gonna get that. It's gonna be tempered with endurance, due diligence, hard work. And one of the things I believe more in than anything else is hard work, and gratitude. You know, and all of those attributes that I think that builds character, principle, and appreciation in an individual. You know, I tried to make sure that we utilize all of those in any, you know, tactical way that I could develop to use them. And, you know, and I've seen the positive results, you know, of that. Is it perfect? Long way from it, but nothing is. But I think that speaks, you know, volume of a certain level of success, and always being available, you know, and always having the time. You know, as males, one of our greatest weaknesses and problems is running around like dogs in heat or something. You know, you can't play them games. You gotta build respect. You gotta have respect. You gotta have respect in your household. You gotta have respect for yourself, and you gotta have respect for those who are watching you. Like my belief is that once you become a parent, whether it's a step parent or a biological parent, ain't no more about you.
It's true. Yeah, it's out the window.
I agree with you.
Right.
If it's about you, don't do that with the kid.
Right.
Stay on out there, let it be about you, and I'm sure they'll find you somewhere someday.
So that may be why fathers stay away from those kids. They just, I still want it to be about me. They just father kids, 10 to 15 kids, and keep it moving. And man, I just want it to be about me. Maybe that's one thing they look at.
Well, I believe it's exactly about that, and that's where I flip the script back to the woman.
Right.
See, you can't be a girl and choosing boys and think you're gonna have an adult relationship and an adult experience.
Right.
People make mistakes. Young women make mistakes. Young men make mistakes. But you don't wallow in the mistake. You don't live in the mistake forever. You pull yourself up and come up out of the mistake. He may not have been the best choice for you, and it's evident now in the way that he lived his life. But I don't want that lifestyle and that association in here, in this house. So we're going to have grown folks conversation about that little kid that happened to be your dad, or about that little girl that happened to be your mom. We're going to have adult conversations about them. And in those, and don't take away any of the love, don't take away any of the respect. We're going to keep having the respect going. But no, sweetheart, that was a mistake. We're not going to make those mistakes anymore. These are the qualities that we look for in people who we look to be adults, who we look to be providers, who we look to for answers when we need answers. You got to set yourself up. That's what, that in and of itself is life is no more about you.
And it's the recurring thing I keep hearing is like, okay, you got the females. She made better choices, then you won't really have like quote unquote maybe deadbeat dads or dads that don't want to necessarily be around or whatever. But it's like, where does she get it from? Where does she get the nurturing and everything that she needs from? And to be able to choose the right men and things of that nature. So it's going back. So let's go back to the whole father out of the household thing. And I know society has for years constructed it to where certain race that the male is out of the household. And it was designed that way to break down the social constructs of family. That's why we have high number of incarcerated fathers. Fathers just choosing not to be in the household and things of that nature. And it's sad. So if we could talk on that for a second.
I think even if you are not in the household,
Okay.
that doesn't exempt you from being a father.
That's true.
You may not be in the household from day to day, but your impact should be felt.
Correct.
Every day. I'm a daddy's girl.
Okay.
Grew up with my dad in the house, but many of my friends did not.
Okay.
So, but their dads were involved.
Okay.
And you have to take the necessary steps to be involved, either voluntarily or involuntarily.
Right.
So for 13 years where I worked, I've preached legitimation.
Okay.
In Georgia, you have to go through that process in order, if you are not married to the mother, to be recognized as the legal father so that you can make decisions and be involved.
Right.
You can't just choose and say, I'm going to do this if you haven't gone through the actual process of legitimation.
Okay, so if you didn't like sign the birth certificate or something like that, then
not even the birth certificate. You can sign the birth certificate and not have rights.
Okay.
You've got to. It's a legal process.
Wow.
And Georgia is the only state in the United States that has that second step for legitimation.
Really?
Yes.
So my kids are mine? Wait a minute.
You weren't married to the mother?
We were married, yeah.
Okay, so that legitimated you.
Oh, okay.
But if you were not married to the mother, which unfortunately most of our children are not born to married parents, they have to go through a second step to be recognized as the legal father. Signing the birth certificate.
Delegitimized it in birth.
Right. Signing the birth certificate simply says, biologically, this is my child.
But for rights, it's some. So why is Georgia like that? I wonder. It was like.
I wish I could answer that question.
Okay.
But I don't know it.
Okay.
I don't know why Georgia is like that. They've gone through, some back in 2005. I think it was 2005 or 2015. They had the second portion at the bottom of the birth certificate where you can acknowledge paternity And some judges would use that for legitimation,
Okay.
but it wasn't consistent across
Across
the
the
board.
board. Okay. Okay.
So if
Wow.
you want to be recognized, you have to go through that
Mm.
legal process
Okay.
to make decisions,
Okay.
to be involved. Because if not, mom has all say so.
So with that being said too, like you were saying, the father has to take the necessary steps and things of that nature to be in the children's life. What if the mother has that chip on her shoulder and won't
Go ahead.
won't let the father be around or even do anything because she...
That is the purpose.
I'm listening.
That's the purpose of legitimation. Once you go through legitimation, through the court process, there's an order that comes at the end that says, these parents must make decisions together
Okay.
as it relates to this child. Here's the visitation schedule. He has to be involved in medical decisions, school decisions,
Education, right.
everything. But you have to go through legitimation to do that. If you don't, whatever mom says.
And I never even knew about legitimation. Well, I guess I was in my kid's life, but so it wasn't a problem. We had a cool relationship. So, wow. So a lot of people don't know that.
A lot of people do not.
I did not know that for many years that I was on child support.
Come on.
I did not know that. Then I found out later. But when I found out, okay, the cost is so high. There's another thing, the cost.
Uh-oh.
There's a cost.
You
Talk
know,
on it. Talk on it.
so I can't afford $1,500 to
Okay.
get this lawyer to get everything I need at this time.
Okay.
So then what I do?
Well, there is a push now for fathers to get legitimated.
Okay.
Here in Bibb County, all you have to do is go to the Superior Court Clerk's office.
Okay.
They have the packets there.
Okay.
And there's a fee waiver that you can apply for.
Really?
And based on your financial
Okay,
situation.
now when did that start?
This sound like after you pay.
Yeah,
After
so
you
they
pay.
use me as an example.
Yeah.
You pay, then we're gonna let everybody else.
Right. After Ron, and everybody else got a fee waiver.
Man.
There is a fee waiver. It can be free or it can be at a discounted rate. But the filing fee, I believe, in Bibb County is somewhere around $300. Could be a little bit more, a little bit less.
Okay.
Now, does legitimation give you all the rights as well as visitation and all that stuff?
It does.
And they charged me 3 times that much.
Mm.
But anyway, we went through it, right? So I got it done. It was because she contested it.
Mhm.
And we really got to get in this because I'm like, why would she contest it? And I'm trying to be the father. I'm trying to be in the life. I'm trying to get the rights. I'm trying to do that. Why would she contest it?
Well, I can't speak specifically for her, but I can say in general, for women, we like control.
Okay.
Okay. I want to be able to say, I control this narrative. I'm in control. I'm a little bit bitter because you didn't choose me.
Wait. Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
You know, you didn't choose me. During whatever the situation
Whatever. Right.
Maybe.
Okay.
you didn't choose me, you chose someone else.
Okay.
And so because you did, this little piece that I can't control,
I'm holding.
I'm gonna hold on to it and control it for as long as I can.
But
Retribution.
in my case, there was no I chose someone else or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just chose to go our separate ways
Yeah.
during the process, during the time. Whatever she had in her mind, whatever I had in my mind, we just chose to go a separate way. And then once I didn't move the way she wanted, like you said, she
Control.
wanted me to move. Boom. Okay, well, I'm going to do this then. I said, well, why would you do that? Because I don't want to. That's it, basically.
I hold
That's
the trump
it.
card, the kid.
I was in high school. So I get my cousin them to jump on you. For what?
Because you couldn't
And I'm
control
like,
you.
This is crazy. I said, well, like I said, I'm from Boy, yeah, maybe. So I said, do what you got to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying at that point. But that didn't happen. But you did go to the legal, and like I said, I'm 17 at the time, and I get a letter in the mail. And you gotta be at court at a certain time. Go to court. Told the man, I said, look, I play sports. I'm a student athlete. 3.8 GPA. I'm doing great. This, that, and the other. He said you should have thought about that before you lay it down with him. Pay the child support, next case. That was it. And
Wow.
that was it. That wasn't no, well, I see what you're doing, you're trying. None of that. Next, the guy that was in front of me was shackled from head to toe with, feet and hand like this for child support. And I'm like, wait, what is going on here? For child support? He was in front of me, and I was like, I sure hope he don't call me next. Ronald Park?
God damn.
But to be that harsh, and then, like I said, from that, I'm in high school, and I ain't have a job or nothing like that. But he told me, get a job. Quit that sports. Just that harsh. Just that, like that.
It's about child,
And then the arrears. Now, see, people don't know about that. Once you get it on you, it goes back to when the child was born.
Not anymore.
See, after you, they shut the door after you.
Well, I'll tell you.
After Ronald Park, and then we're going to change the laws.
Right. And I'm already in the hole.
Yeah.
I'm already in the hole. And so now if I miss a payment or anything, it's license, locking you up.
Yeah, Georgia's no longer retroactive. Means it starts at the time that the application is filed, and the court, and it's established in court, then to the child.
Well, that's a
18,
lesson
graduates
for the
high school.
kids now.
But don't go to Florida.
Don't go to Florida. They're going to get you.
Florida is retroactive.
Wow. Wow.
So do you think child support affects the relationship between the father and the kid?
If you live it. Paying child support is just a small part, as you mentioned earlier, to being a father. It is your responsibility to financially provide for that child.
But she going to go get nails. She going to get her hair done and all that stuff. So should I not be worried about that and just know that I gave for my child or whatever? But if she, so extracurricular, my kid calling me for the Jordans or whatever, well, tell your mama she all on Instagram getting her nails done, her hair done or whatever.
So,
I'm listening.
let me adjust my seat.
Okay.
So,
I'm just saying. I'm speaking for somebody. Somebody got that
right.
thought.
So when we calculate the amount that the parent who doesn't have the child should pay, we take into consideration both incomes.
Okay.
And we determine what the amount is. Legally, all you have to do is pay that amount.
Okay.
If you choose
to do more,
okay, you can do it one or two ways. The first way, send it through child support.
Okay.
You can pay more. Nobody said that you couldn't pay more than what you ordered.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Or you can give it directly to the child, but don't expect it to count towards your child support.
That's true.
Right.
So you just got to determine which way you want to do it.
Right.
If you want to receive credit for it on child support, send everything through child support.
But watch this. When you don't do it directly, your dad ain't that. He don't never give you that, do it. See, you know what I'm saying? And but yet then you say, well, you know what? I'm gonna give him $100. Now, of course, you got $100. It may mean something to them, may not. But it don't count when that child support.
That's right.
And when that child support come in, $450 or whatever it is coming in, you short. Now they sending letters.
Right.
Now it's time for the spend your license. No matter you got a job now. Then until I find out later that I could go to a place, which was Department of Labor at the time, to, let them know I'm working, I'm doing this and that and the other, and then they give me a letter to get my license. I think it was paid like $35, still pay for your license registration. So I still had to pay that, and before I knew that, I was just walking around with suspended license.
education is key.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
But who educates? That's why you here.
That's
Right.
Because a lot of them don't get that education. I want somebody that's in my situation, or was in my situation, or maybe in my situation now, or that I had, to get that education so they don't be that way. Because you really feel like you stuck and
Right.
you cannot do anything.
Right.
It was really, those years were really tough on me. Me being, they were really tough on me. And it wasn't that I didn't want to do good. I wanted to do good.
Mm.
And I couldn't do good.
Right.
I wanted to be in my son's life. And I couldn't be in our son's life. And that affects us to this day. To this very day, we don't have the relationship that I want.
I'm an advocate for.
And it's y'all fault.
It's not.
I'm just playing.
I'm an advocate for everyone putting their cards on the table. Okay? Everyone is not going to do that. My son, like I said, his father wasn't in his life. I probably could have nailed him to the cross, but I never opened a child support case against him. The reason why is because I knew I wouldn't get anything for him, for my son, not given the situation that he was in.
Right.
So because I knew that, there was no point in wasting anyone's time.
All right. Now, so do you find, and I hate to cut you off, but this is the touchy subject for me. Did you find, like most cases, like when the father is a potential good guy trying to do well, most of the time he get child support took out of him. The dude that ain't trying to do that, ain't been nothing, they don't do that right. Because basically what you were saying, because I don't want to waste my time. Maybe that's what
Anybody's time, right?
or anybody's time, because you know I ain't gonna get in there. I know he ain't gonna get in there. But if I do the good guy, he gonna give me some money.
Well, and this I don't have facts on this stat I'm gonna give, but I want to say 99% of our cases came because you broke up with me and you proposed to her and posted it on Facebook.
That's what's okay.
New case. It's gotta be new case.
After you. Right.
So the next day, I'm going down to the office and I'm gonna open up this case.
Wow.
Because she can have you, but you will forever be connected to me, and I'm gonna have this money.
Yeah.
And I don't have the facts, but
that's a lot of the
it's
cases.
it's a lot of bitterness.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is, mostly men that pay child support. There is an increasing number of women who are now being ordered to pay child support, but it's still predominantly males.
Right.
Get educated. Don't depend on your drunk uncle's information
As
it relates to child support.
Right.
Ask the people that work there,
Mm-hmm.
and by all means, go to court when you're ordered to go to court.
Okay.
Because it's when you don't show up, you lose your voice.
Okay.
If you don't show up for court, when we offer you DNA testing, we're not going to offer it to you again.
Okay.
And you're the daddy by default.
Okay.
So there's a lot of men paying child support for children that aren't biologically theirs because he didn't show up to court for his DNA test.
Okay.
Okay.
So what about the fathers who? Yeah. So I guess it's a mindset is what it is. I know a lot of guys that'll keep changing jobs or say they don't and work under the table so they don't have to pay child support.
Oh, they still have to pay.
Yeah. The amount just goes down.
It just goes down. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's where even if you work, we promote entrepreneurship.
Okay.
But if you are an entrepreneur, a true entrepreneur, then you're responsible for governing yourself as a business.
Okay.
So that means being responsible enough to deduct your child support.
Okay.
And sending it in on your own.
Okay.
They are.
Okay.
Because that's what your court ordered to do.
Right.
It's a court order.
Okay.
Okay. And if you change jobs, communicate that to us. Mm-hmm. And we'll send it to the employer.
Instead of the way she talking, just let us know.
Just
we'll take your money
however
you give it.
But
that's basically it. We'll take your money however we give it.
But it is, it's a court order.
Right.
And so you And it's one of the things that if you don't pay it, there's a consequence.
Right.
If you don't pay Georgia Power, what's going to happen?
It'll cut your life off.
Right.
If you don't pay Macon Water Authority, what's going to happen?
Yep.
It'll
No
cut your
showers.
life off.
Right.
So if you don't pay this child support,
Right.
They mean business.
Okay.
we're going to suspend your license.
Right.
We're going to keep you from getting a passport.
Yep.
We'll suspend your hunting and fishing license.
Oh, yes.
We're going to intercept your federal and or state income
Okay.
tax refund if you do one.
Okay.
Any lump sum payment. Get in the car accident and call Forrest B. Johnson or Ken
Whoever.
Nugent or whoever.
They
Right.
come to get it.
You
Right.
get it.
Okay. Let's talk about some happy stuff. so
It's so depressing.
let's talk about what are some of the programs that are in place for those fathers and maybe even mothers or whatever the case may be, for employment, educating themselves, whether it's the educational piece or just mental health and things of that nature. Are there things in place through the state?
There are. There's we have 3 major outreach programs.
Okay.
The first outreach program is the Fatherhood program. It's strictly employment and education.
Okay.
If you lack those 2 things, you can be referred to the Fatherhood program
Okay.
to assist with overcoming that barrier.
Okay.
Those are, it's a short-term program. It's quick.
Okay.
90 days. Get in, get out.
Okay.
Neither of these programs are court ordered.
They can be court ordered. If you go to court, the judge can court order you into the Fatherhood program, but it's voluntary as well.
Okay.
We got a mobile app. All you got to do is go to the mobile app and do a deferral agreement.
Okay.
So that fatherhood program didn't do me that
Yeah,
good
we
when I got into
We
it.
talking about,
But that was years ago. I think
we talking about a different group now. I was listening to you and thinking about Ben Carson.
Gifted hands.
Gifted Hands. You read that book? You remember
I did.
what the lesson he learned from his mom when he kept asking for those $100 and $200 tennis shoes and all of that different items that he wanted as a young man to go to school to show his classmate, that he was doing well. She just gave him the checkbook. You pay the bill. Here's the check. You pay the bill. And he never had enough money to pay the bill from her check. So he began to understand, well, listen, she ain't never got enough money to pay. She having to do this and pay a little bit on this and pay a little bit on that. He began to understand the household finance.
Right.
And I think that a lot of times we miss teaching opportunity in-home, in-house teaching techniques for the kid. I think that's what makes the difference in how the kid receives the dad. Because the truth of the matter is some dads are what they are because mom made bad selection, mom was whatever. It's a whole bad process there, and it's just a reality of it. And if you're not very careful, you'll produce a repeater of those same acts.
Right.
It'd be kind of like the lady, I used to love dealing with her that ran the housing authority down in Dublin. Her thing was move in, move up, and then move out. Nobody is to move in permanently. This is not a permanent resident in the housing. I know quite a few people in Dublin. In fact, just left DFAC down there. I want to treat the office down there. But it's tactics, it's techniques, it's ways, and it's ways that I think the community has to be engaged. That's when I asked about the court order. Sometimes we're people that's got to be ordered by the court because I talked earlier about respect. And that's something that's lacking in the community because we don't understand it. We don't know where it comes from, where it stems from. We don't understand that, it's because of either fear or esteem, and we hold others in esteem, high esteem. When you don't, a person that we should, a person that may be related to you, a person that may be a person that you may have slept with or sleeping with, or whatever the case may be, it's a lack of respect. Because there's that liking of holding in a high esteem for whatever reason. All of that, I think, has to be learned. It's a learned behavior. It has to be taught. We either have to force that teaching, and I think conversation like this, that you provided some, because I call myself, knowing stuff. Yeah, which I ain't know nothing what you said. But I don't know much about child support, but all of this great information, I think, and and putting it out there in the public domain is just is absolutely wonderful.
I appreciate it. I
Right.
appreciate it. But yes, they can be court ordered
Yeah.
to participate.
That's great because it need to be
And
court enacted.
right. By design, fatherhood will come at the beginning of the process
Mhm.
because we're hoping to, get in quickly, provide some training opportunities.
A lot of things has changed since I.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What type of training? Like,
CDL, welding. We have a partnership with the technical college, every technical college in the state of Georgia.
okay,
So here locally is Central Georgia Tech.
okay,
So any certificate program that you can start any in within 3 to 6 months is something that falls under the category of something that we can assist with.
Okay.
Business alliance that fit right in there.
yeah. So when you say assist, so we're talking about money.
We're talking
So
about money.
how much do the young men or women have to pay? Like, how does it? These are grants or whatever? Like
They
to
don't
pay
have to
for?
pay a thing.
So you can get your CDL, become a truck driver, potentially start your own business and everything, and it's paid for by the state.
Yes, you are correct.
Stop it. For
Okay,
real?
welding.
Just parts
Certain
of welding.
Parts of welding.
not
okay.
the full welding program
Right,
because
right.
that takes about 2 years.
Okay.
But you can go get certified stick welding,
Okay.
MIG, TIG.
So they can go on what website to get this information?
They need to come to the child support office.
Come to the office. All right. Go to the office. Right. Okay.
They need to come to child support office, or you utilize the mobile app
Okay.
to request the fatherhood program. They can email us.
Okay.
We do, and don't be afraid of being incarcerated. And I'm gonna get to
What you mean?
What you
Don't
don't
be
be-
afraid.
You mean listen? Everybody
Feel
let's just go. What
Just
you
be
mean?
happy to go to jail.
Yeah.
No.
for child support. There's only 2 ways to get a warrant:
Don't pay.
to be ordered to pay child support,
Mhm.
Okay.
be served for contempt court, meaning you've been properly served.
Mm-hmm.
You hadn't been paying. You've been properly served to go to court,
Mhm.
and you don't go.
Okay.
That's an automatic warrant.
Okay.
Okay. The second way, same scenario. You hadn't been paying, ordered to go to court, been properly served. You show up. You agree to pay $500 in 30 days, and you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a warrant. That's the only 2 ways.
Okay.
Just because you're behind, we can't just automatically do a warrant. We have
It
to
doesn't
give
change.
due process.
It's you.
It's still change.
Yeah, you were the
Because
breaking
when I was behind,
Yeah.
they was trying to come get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They was trying to come get me.
There has to be due process. But another thing, oh my God, is if we go to your house, we know you live there, and we're trying to serve you for court, and your brother comes to the door and say, he's not here, but I'm going to take this paper. That means you've been served notoriously.
Oh, wow.
So if he never tells you got court
That's
date,
no
you've been properly served.
So nobody opened the door. No, I'm just teasing. I was just teasing.
So-
Wow.
But yes, to come to the fatherhood program, you can go to the mobile app.
Serve notoriously.
Notorious service. Mm-hmm. Yeah, personal service and notorious service. Personal service, I'm process server,
Yeah.
I'm giving it to you.
Mhm.
Notorious, I'm giving it to your brother who certifies that he's going to tell you and provide this documentation to you. So those are the only 2 ways to get a warrant for child support.
So if your bitter baby mama open the door and you in the bathroom and she just don't even tell you about it or something
Well, we gotta be responsible.
Okay.
We gotta be responsible.
But with
Your
that,
address.
right.
If you and the mother of the child are living together, because I know you ain't just living there and you ain't got nothing in your name.
Mm.
I know you're not gonna
Well,
do that.
I've seen some
You
guys.
shouldn't do that. If you're gonna lay your head there, put a bill in your name.
Mm.
Why?
That's gonna validate that you are there. And that if you are there, then she can't come and ask for child support for that period of time.
Oh.
Because you're there, a part of the household.
Okay.
You gotta put something in your name.
Okay.
That's good
Not the
info there.
not the cable bill. Need to be, a
Yeah,
utility.
Utility bill.
The real.
Water bill.
Get the water
It's the
bill.
cheapest. It's the cheapest
Keep it
bill.
one.
She got a leak. So
Right.
And so we understand that everybody doesn't have this perfect scenario, and there may be problems down the road. That we have our second outreach program, which is parental accountability court.
Okay.
That happens if you get a warrant for child support.
Okay.
This outreach program will, because you have to be in contempt.
Okay.
This outreach program will resolve your incarceration order.
So when did this program come
After
in?
you.
I don't know the specific dates, but
It was after.
but what it's directly under the jurisdiction of a judge. As a judge assigned,
Okay.
and it's a longer program because people that go to that program have much more extensive barriers: homelessness, substance abuse, mental health, those things that are so pressing that child support is nowhere even on the spectrum.
Gotcha.
So it's directly under the supervision of a judge. They're required to go to court every month, much like drug court.
Okay.
It's a similar accountability court,
Okay.
just for child support.
Okay.
That program is in existence. It can resolve your incarceration order. If you're in jail, you can enroll in parental accountability court and get out.
Wow.
But there is a process. You can't have violent criminal
Right.
offenses.
Right.
And some other things. Got to run a background check.
Okay.
So it takes a little bit longer to get into the program, but it is available here in Bibb County.
Hmm.
Their outreach program is what we call access and visitation. It helps you gain access to your child, education about legitimation.
Even while you're on child support?
Even while you're on child support. In fact, for this program, you have to have a child support case in order to be referred to it.
So
Helps
you all
set up
collaborate
visitation.
only with government agencies? You don't collaborate within the community groups and agencies?
We do.
Such as?
So the fatherhood agent is responsible for kicking over the rocks in the community to see what resources are available. So we
Fatherhood program?
the fatherhood program is what
I've never heard of it.
we've been around for 25 years, and we're through the Division of Child Support Services.
But you're government funded. I mean, you're
Yes.
a state agent.
Yes.
Okay, so the state agent is responsible for kicking the rocks over in the community.
Mhm.
So who is your community connection that you kick the rocks over with? Because you ain't going in there kicking them over by yourself.
We do. We go into the Board of Commissioner meetings. We go to the Development Authority meetings. We're in the Department of Labor.
No grassroots
Goodwill.
community organization?
We do.
No churches?
See, church and state.
Oh,
gotta be careful.
Separation, yeah, they kind of.
So, but I will tell you, we provide information to the churches, but it's up to the churches
to
to
reach out, right?
give the information to their parishioners.
Oh, so they are provided there. I mean,
Yeah.
because nowadays all churches are 501c3s, so
Excuse me.
it ain't no more like they used to be.
Right. We do give them the information. Some churches kind of shy away from us, but we do provide the information to them.
Why you think they shy away from you?
Because it goes against kind of what they believe.
The construct of
The
family,
right?
father in the household, and all that
Yeah,
stuff. They don't wanna promote.
what it goes against is their possession. They don't want to lose possession. It's all about money.
Right. Well, and some of them, some of them.
Most
That's the
Most of
that is
But we know you can't speak on that.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, I can. I ain't asked you, but I'm just telling you.
Right.
Yeah, that's just what you were saying.
Yeah.
So it's just we try to get the information out. We partner with Omega Psi Phi Fraternity
Okay.
we do fatherhood conversation events. You can go to our Georgia Human Services Facebook page and see all the live events. The same information that I'm providing, we've tried to provide in Atlanta, Savannah, Augusta, Dublin, Macon, Albany, Columbus. So we're trying to get the information.
They are trying now. Back in the day, there was nothing like this. There was nothing like this.
Right.
You didn't have none of that information. I did later on find out about the fatherhood program, and that was it. And the fatherhood program was almost an empty program for me at that time. It was not had much as what it has right now.
Right. You were the guinea pig.
So right, that ain't so. So the kids or whatever, the guys now coming out have every opportunity, seem like now, to be with their child, get gainful employment, and live a good life that they want.
Yes.
For me, when I came out, it was really hard. I remember because I didn't know. I didn't know they can take your income tax check and all that. So I had worked all year, and I was like, man, I'm finna
waiting
get
for
back.
that money, $7,000, $8,000.
Right. And they sent me a letter.
Hey,
Huh?
Hey.
Am I right? They sent me a letter
Hey.
saying your income tax has been intercepted.
And applied.
Yeah.
I know, that's what they.
Like, and I was like, okay, so who do I call? Right. And then who do I call to get it back? That's what get it back. And it was over. And then, I mean, they didn't have no. I went down there afterwards. They don't. The people sometimes. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Sometimes the people that work there are so harsh and nasty. Man, just give me. I know from my experience and from others I talk to. Why are they like that? Are they trained to be that way?
They're not trained to be that way, but we are in a position where we can't make anybody happy. We get as many phone calls from the custodial parent as we do from the non-custodial parent. Custodial parent calling us, why can't y'all get my money?
Yeah.
Non-custodial parent calling, I ain't got no money to give you.
Right.
Why you keep
calling
me? Why you keep
So this
sending
is
me
back and
these
forth.
letters?
So y'all just a bad guy, period. Y'all
Right.
just a bad guy t-shirt. Right.
Right. Okay, watch this. Can a person who took out child support on somebody work for the child support agency?
Yes.
They can work for them.
They can work for them, and a person who is ordered to pay child support can work for them.
I don't want to work for them. But
Then
I
take
thought,
out your check.
right, and it's easy to get to now.
Right now, right, we got you.
But I would think that would be a conflict in interest if the person that a person owes child support to works at the child support.
It's not a conflict of interest, but you do have to disclose it. It has to be disclosed that you have an active case.
Yeah.
And you cannot access that case. In most instances, that case, if it's in the same office that you are assigned to, in most instances, that case has moved out.
To another.
They didn't. Okay, never
I
mind.
said in most cases.
Yeah.
You know,
It was later. They did move.
Did you say whether or not they provide in these programs you're offering emotional and mental health services?
We
Yeah,
do.
we need
That is part of the fatherhood program. We do have an emotional wellness concept. We have a vendor that we use, Fathers Incorporated. Here's the problem. Can't get anybody to go.
Tell you what, do you have to have an active case to go?
You have to.
Because I think I need to go.
You need
I think I need
you need
counseling and everything.
Fella.
I tell you, man,
Fella.
it was some rough times. Really was.
You do
It
have
just
to have,
seemed like it's like I don't know. It just seemed like you got all of these community programs, you know, which to me just shows the competency and the ineffectiveness of community programs. It ain't what they used to be. They're just ego trippers now because you got too many of them. You know, you've got all of these programs such as, you know, Action Network, SCLC, NAACP, 100 Black Businessmen, Big Brothers. The list goes on and on. In fact, Middle Georgia has the highest number of 501c3 for its population in the state of Georgia. So it's a lot of 501c3s in this community. This community doesn't have to suffer the way that it suffers, especially learning from you. You got these type programs that are willing to come in and partner with you, you know, and you're trying to bring people up, raise them up from where. I mean, what parent, like you just said, what parent don't want to be in their kid's life? Then, you know, thank God that he ain't in there or she ain't in there if you don't want to be in there. If you ain't bringing the love into that relationship that's necessary for that person's growth and development. We ought to be afforded every opportunity to create that nurturing, that creates that development, that makes a good, solid community person.
Right.
And I think that's why we're suffering. Somehow we have to figure out what's already there, what's already available, and how to best use it.
Right. And with that being said, what do you guys think would take to get those guys to take advantage of those resources? What kind of funnel? What would it take?
see, because it's all about human behavior.
Okay,
Right
they gotta
now.
want to.
They gotta want to
Okay,
because it's there and it's been there for 25 years,
okay.
more than 25 years.
A long time.
That's a long time. And we are a society in general. Once we get that instant gratification, once we instantly give you your driver's license back by a few clicks on the
Screen, right.
on the screen, then you forget
Mm.
what you are responsible for doing. You're responsible for following up.
So does that mean that that should probably be the extra step before you even get your license?
I wish it would be, but
I got to go through
you
this
know,
program to get my license.
right.
That sounds like a good funnel.
It used to be that way. It used to be where you had to go through, you had to show up for orientation first before we gave you your license.
True.
But a few commissioners back, a few governors back, that was changed because our system wasn't automated then. It was, someone had to be looking at your case to see that you're paying like you're supposed to,
Right.
and prevent your license from being suspended.
Okay.
So now that the process is automated, everything
It
is
automatically
automated.
happens, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now it's automated, but it used to be where I had to be looking at your case
Mm.
Okay.
to catch that you're paying and keep your license from suspending.
Okay. So did we just answer that, or could somebody like say? But so with that being said, it's like, do they want people to come through the program? Because if they do, that's going to be more money. That means more money got to be allocated to the state. That means, resources got to go up and things of that nature. Money goes up. So it sounds like maybe it's a money game. We want you to know it's there, but we're not going to necessarily push it.
We push it. We want everybody who is eligible that needs the service to come and get it.
But, to your point, what's interesting about that point is that one of the most effective means for incarcerated people or the program, you program your way out. You can do Napoleon Hill, 17 Principles to Successful Living.
Mm-hmm.
You can do GED. You can do all of that as a requirement. But recidivism rates went down so low, the state stopped providing that. They no longer do that. So now why would you cut a successful program other than the fact that money is being cut someplace else? So now your money go back up, and your incarceration rate go back up. People spending longer time now, which means more money. That's an interesting, but in spite of that, somehow those programs got to be put out there. They got to be, people got to know about it. They got to be offered. They got to be utilized. I don't know
I
how.
think you got to put them in places. I think you have to, just like we talk about what churches need to do, go to where the people at.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they have to go to. Because let me be honest, when I was on child support, I don't want to go down there for nothing.
I know.
Right.
I don't care what. I don't want to go down there for nothing. Because of the customer service that I receive, and I know they say they're getting all that, but I don't want to go down there for nothing. So if you can bring that information
to a middleman or something,
right, something like that, then I may receive it. But other than that, it's gonna be hard for me to go down there.
And typically, as that's what we've tried to do.
Okay.
We did go to the churches. In fact, the fatherhood conversation concept that we had sprung from us having a live stream event at a church here in Macon, who didn't. There wasn't
in the wrong place.
There wasn't a lot of people there,
Right.
but we learned that the pastor of that church was streaming our conversation live for those who just were fearful
And that's what it is.
of coming to where child support.
Because
work.
I ain't paying. Right.
So-
they really
Right.
do feel like they're finna be locked up every time
Right.
they come in your presence.
Right. And
They
so we did that. So we started having those conversation events that are streamed live. You can get information from the comfort of your home, and we're giving you information how to reach us. But then we took it a step further. We would ask barbershops to just have a group of gentlemen there at your barbershop while we're doing this live stream event. Okay? So even if everyone doesn't come, somebody in that neighborhood gets the information,
somebody, right.
and then go spread the word.
Yeah.
Well,
So
maybe you should have enjoined it to not just the barbershop, but to the beauty shop also.
We did the beauty shops.
Because
Everybody.
one of the things I know for a fact, if you touch that woman, if you change that woman, if you get to that woman's mind, you're going to change that man. If she stopped being so accessible for him to toy with, to whatever, I mean, if she have higher standards, if she would make a greater requirement, he's going to listen more. That neck is going to turn that head. That may be the only way that we're going to reach young male, because we see everything through whatever we see it through, whether it's sports, entertainment, rapping, and I was having a conversation with a young man and said some things. Oh, that's a ball. That's a ball. He's thinking about rapping. He's going to attach it to a ball. And I'm just thinking, if you could attach it some kind of way where he is, because I don't know, most programs, young people that don't have some of that mixture in it, they miss it. They don't have the time for it. They don't want to hear it. It's not reaching them. It's not where they are. And they're shutting the door and closing their ears and minds to what's being offered. And how do you open that up? And unfortunately, I think that it's kind of like a bar scene. The most popular bars have ladies' night free drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Want to fill up the bar with the women. And the joke is coming.
Right.
And you're going to spend the money. And you count your money about what you gave away to drink, that you done made a lot more money. Some kind of way, I think that, I don't know what that is. After 25 years trying it, I think you're ready to try something new.
Well, and we've done everything from we submitted to be an entry in the Cherry Blossom Parade, and we walked in the Cherry Blossom and passed out flyers.
I'm dropping it because you got a bad guy.
Right. And we're trying our best to give you the information. Right. We're coming to you.
I think you have to let, and it's just an idea that came to me. People like myself who've been there and done that, I think you have to give us that information to be able to go back and be able to give them that information.
Yes.
I think they'll definitely receive it better versus you coming.
I do have 2 success stories outside of you, Ron, here locally who I utilize and I won't call their names because they're not here, but they have one who went through the process, got legitimated, now has custody of his child.
Okay. Wow.
Right. Whereas he used to pay child support, he's now receiving child support from the mother. Wow. That's one instance. And then another instance, young man came through the Fatherhood program, got his certification, is making more money than I am. Now, got his certifications, paid off his arrears, and is in a position now where he can pay his monthly support each month. But, it's just those people that really buy into the program, who come in, take advantage of the resources. Right now, the position is vacant, so I'm covering Bibb County right now. So, I had about 60 invitations that went out. These are people who have been recognized as someone who possibly needs assistance. Letters sent out, about 60 of them went out. You know how many I had in orientation?
3.
7.
Okay. So more than 10%. Well, it sounded like it was more than what it used to be, but
typically, a while back, I would have anywhere between 30 and 40 in orientation every month.
Every month.
Every month, 30 or 40 in orientation every month.
So what changed?
Was it mandated or was it okay? So it's voluntary. Okay.
The pandemic.
Okay.
Changed?
I think that because out of sight, out of mind. Whereas you used to have to come and physically meet with me at the Department of Labor. Now you can just hear my voice over the phone from the comfort of your home. And you tune me out, really. So I think, I'm ready for us to go back to in-person services because I think there's more accountability there.
Right.
I do recognize that there are some who benefit from our virtual services because, some people are underemployed.
Okay.
Meaning they're working, they're just not making enough.
Okay.
And we can either assist them
So
with
do you? And I hate to cut you off, but then you say they're underemployed. So is that some that you all assist him with? Okay, I know he's underemployed. He probably can't make the child support payment. What do you do for him?
I look at his order and see if it's at least 3 years old. If it's at least 3 years old, tell him, well, you might want to consider modification.
Okay.
Because you're not making enough. Your income has changed since this order was established. So you can modify your order. We'll modify it.
Okay, from my understanding, modification goes, you have to do her and you have to do him.
We're going to recalculate your child support.
So now if she said, okay, I ain't making nothing.
We won't enter zero. If
You
you're
gotta
able
have
about
something.
it, we got to give you at least minimum wage.
Minimum wage. Okay.
It won't be zero.
On bottom of house.
So if him minimum wage and he's minimum wage, then it stays the same, right?
Well, if it's a minimum wage order, both of them are minimum wage for one child, that's $264 a month. So
So basically, he got it. Okay, light bill high, but you don't worry about that light bill. You got to pay child.
Okay.
No. Well, we're going to find out. if you're already paying what we call a minimum wage order, but you're still not making enough, then what I want you to do is come to me. Let me take you out to Central Georgia Tech, get you some certification so you can make more money.
So you got to make some money.
Right? So you can get a better job, so you can make more than minimum wage. We want our participants to make more than minimum wage. We're trying to help them get a career.
So do you give them time to do that?
We do. The program is 3 to 6 months,
Okay.
right? So if you're employed within the first 90 days, you get 90 more days.
Okay. Without having to pay.
You gotta pay.
Without paying more.
No, you gotta pay what you're ordered.
Right.
He can't. He's under.
No, she said, but if he got the job, he got the new job, then you got 90 more days.
Right.
Before.
Right. Okay, so
I'm
let's go.
saying he's underemployed, right? He ain't making the payments already.
But
I'm asking, do he have time to get this certification to start making enough money to where he can pay without having to use everything he got? He can't.
because
So it's hard.
it's a court order. I can't
Right.
supersede
You
the
can't do
court
that.
order.
Right. And I understand
It is
that.
what it is, yeah.
I understand. I'm just saying, well, is there something?
But while you're in the program, there's no other enforcement action taken against you. You have an umbrella over you.
Okay, so even if you owe, they won't send you to jail or suspend your license.
Right.
Okay, once you're in the program.
Once you're in there, you protect it, and as long as you do what you're supposed to do in the program. Now you don't get a lifetime membership.
Don't
look for that.
You don't get a lifetime membership. It's 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Okay. And in that time, it's like we're going to look at your order, see what it needs. Does it need modification? Do you need a better job? Do you need an additional job? 80% of Americans work more than one job. So you might need to work more than one job. We're only going to send the income deduction order to one job, not both of them. But you got to tell us which one is your part-time job.
Because y'all want the full-time job.
We want the full-time.
What if that part-time job make more than a full-time job? Okay, we won't get into all that. All right.
You gotta wait them sugar band.
Yeah.
Don't
worry about it.
We want the one that's going to be consistent because your
I got
part-time job might vary.
Okay.
So to sum that up, the guy that's on child support, he gets in the program. He's underemployed.
Underemployed.
He's underemployed. He cannot make the payments as is. He gets in the program. It's going to be very hard for him in the program.
It's not going to be hard, but he's going to
How
have.
is it not going to be
It's
hard?
not going to be hard because
He ain't got gas money. He can't go to the place. He got to walk to work. Y'all look for him to walk to work.
So he's already working
He's
somewhere.
working. Yeah, he's working.
So he's
getting there.
He's getting there.
Okay, he's getting there.
He's getting there. From the program perspective, I'm not going to cause any problems in what he's
With that.
already received.
Gotcha.
I'm going to work outside of his schedule.
Okay.
I have participants that call me on their lunch break. From the Miss Coley, I'm on my lunch break. I got your email. I saw the job leads. I'm interested in this job that you sent me. Okay, here are the steps. This is what you need to do. Apply to this job. Once you apply, call me back and let me know you've done it. So I can call them and say, hey, he just put his application.
Help them get
So you do job leads too?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Okay.
I just thought about that. You just
Just said that. Wow.
So yeah, if you, but you got, I can't submit the application for you.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta submit your application. You got to meet me halfway.
Gotcha.
You know?
You guys need your own podcast. You guys have anything?
I know, right?
Because you need to be the face of it. I wouldn't mind coming to see you at the child support
Just
place
talk
because
to
it
us.
sounds like other people like, "Arr," but
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, she's obviously genuine.
right.
That's why you come across with the courtesy that you have, because
Right.
you're genuinely interested in people,
And
that's
helping
what
people, right.
that's what we don't have a lot of
Right.
Mhm.
genuine interest
Right.
in people.
If I had to do anything else within the child support system, I'm not certain I would be successful because I have to be able to help.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you enjoy that.
I enjoy that. I like to see you better off than when you came to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Good stuff.
And we are trying to push that culture
Correct.
throughout the agency. Now, some people, every place of employment, you got good ones.
Yeah,
you
they
got,
just there for the check,
Yeah,
whatever.
and not so
boom.
good.
Right.
But we're trying
Correct.
to change the culture.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ron.
Trying to change people.
But no,
Change is good. Good change is good.
Right. Honestly, I met her years later afterwards, and yeah, she was really a blessing to me. That's how I gained the knowledge. That's how I got myself on my feet and was able to get out of that situation. So yeah, whatever she's saying, look, you can take it to the bank, because that's what definitely helped me out of the situation. I just was bothered by the situation
I know you
altogether.
Yeah.
You know, when you really, and I'll be honest with you, when you really trying to be all you can be to your child, and all these obstacles coming up that don't necessarily have to be there, that bothered me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
honestly, it made me who I am today, though.
And I think that's the power of the whole podcast this afternoon. The whole story is that you are an example of her program, or the program that she's involved in.
Right.
I'm like you now. That need to be a podcast by itself.
By
Right.
itself, exactly.
True.
We are looking for ways to, because we think the conversations have, I don't want to say dried up, but are not as effective as they used
Right,
as
exactly.
they once were. And so it may be.
Because you got to look at the channels, how people are getting information now.
Right.
That's what it is. The
Right.
old things, going to the church, giving them flyers and all this stuff, that's played.
Right.
You got to, everybody's on the phone,
Yeah.
attention span, just like this right here. You got to hit it real quick or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
So they got to just change the entire face of, this particular thing. Now, of course, we want you to be great fathers anyway.
Right.
But if you find yourself in a situation where you're in, the rears and can't get a good job and things of that nature, there are programs out here designed to help you become a better person, better, because again, your kids are looking up to you as well.
Right.
And so you got to break generational curses and things of that nature, because if you were this particular person right here, think outside yourself. Like you said, whenever you become a parent, it's no longer about you. So if you could just put that piece, into a higher light, okay, I need to be a better person if not for me, for my kids, for them to follow this right here. Because I potentially got grandkids coming, great grandkids coming, and we need to break this generational curse. Yeah, I wasn't with their mom or whatever the case may be, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to be a better person, being in my children's lives and setting a positive example. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so final words, anybody?
Well, I've learned a lot. I don't have child support issues, but I
Thank
love
God.
to have information so that people that I meet, because I meet different people every day, I'm able to share and direct them, to programs now that I know about programs that can help. So I'm definitely about helping the community. I think that's what these type programs is what help and build the community. And I'm definitely about that.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Miss Pam?
I would just say, you're more than a child support payment.
Mm.
As a father, as a mother who's ordered to pay child support, you're more than that. That doesn't define you.
Mhm.
If you need assistance, it's there for you.
Mhm.
We are here. We're here to help. We're not on anybody's side. We're on the side of the child.
Okay.
We don't get involved into too much into the legal aspect, but child support doesn't define you. It doesn't mean that you're a deadbeat. It simply means that that's the method that has been chosen
Right.
for you to provide financial support for
Okay.
your child.
Right. Okay. Yeah. For me, my plea is to find some kind of way to be in the child's life. I know a big thing for me with my kids, and the thing was, me and my kids' mom, we divorced, and so I was out of the household, but I made a point to make sure I stayed in my children's life. I showed up to the school. I bought ice cream for the little kids. I ate lunch. I'm at the field day. I'm taking them to, baseball games, football games, all of that stuff to make sure that I was in my children's life. Even though I wasn't in a household, every day I made sure I called. I'm there, extra stuff outside of the child support. So my child support was voluntary. We had a set amount, and I made sure I gave that. Whenever we couldn't, I made sure that I communicated that to her. She understood my situation. It was all about communication. And anything extra, then I still bought the kids clothes for school and things of that nature. And they bring that stuff up. It really mattered to them.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So, don't just hold a grudge because the mama, blah, 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 blah. If you have a choice to still be in the kid's life, do it. They need you. I think that we got a lot of kids now because the crime rate is so bananas now. And not so much that the guys just got to be in the house. Be in the children's life. Be a positive impact. Don't just be a piece of furniture if you are in the house. Don't just be a piece of furniture or whatever the case may be. Spend quality time with your children, your daughters, your sons. Give them some type of wisdom. That would be my plea. That's my plea.
I'm sorry, can I say one more thing?
Please.
And don't depend on getting information from the mother. You've got the phone in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the school website and find out what's the basketball schedule,
Mm-hmm.
what's the football
Mm-hmm.
schedule, when whatever extracurricular activities are being, and just show up.
Just show up. And I say it final, but she keep bringing up stuff. I was that father who would show up, but it was frowned upon me showing up. I was looked at as, I was already labeled a deadbeat to everybody they knew. I'm a deadbeat. He don't do this, he don't do that. And people looked at me different. And then a lady came to one of my stage plays. She said, I can't believe you the guy who they say you were. I said, man, because I'm not that guy.
You're not.
And that I'm cool with whatever people say about me. I ain't worried about that. But to be labeled that and you was not that was it messed with my psyche a little bit. But I came out of that and I say to the father that who's in that, do the best you can. Do the very best you can. Try to go see him. Try to spend time with them. Try to spend much money you can. Make sure you try to pay your child support and stay out of that. But do the best you can and be able to live with that.
If you don't show up, the only thing that child can learn from is the person that they're around on a consistent basis. The only thing that they'll ever know about you is what
They tell
them.
Right.
So you gotta show up.
And what they see is that they saw that daddy wasn't around. But then they get to a point where, okay, I'm hearing what mama say, but daddy was here. Daddy did this. Daddy, I saw that, So when they get to a point where they can think on their own, then that's when it kicks in.
Right.
Good stuff.
Man, I appreciate y'all coming. So much knowledge, so much understanding. I really enjoyed it. And I pray that, you know, somebody gets something out of
Get
it and
blessed
be
by
able
it.
to be blessed by it
Right.
and not have to go through all the things that a lot of people like myself went through.
Mhm.
But thank you, Miss Pam.
Thank you so
Yep.
much for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Pitts. All that wisdom coming from you. I just thank you so much.
Yeah.